Airsoft friends, and welcome to this video today, where today we're going to be doing a cheeky comparison between the Ares Amoeba Striker Kneecapper and the Novritsch SSG10 A1 sniper rifles. But before we get into the comparison, I just want to say a big thank you to my patrons who month after month support the channel, and it allows me to do things like this. So thank you all very, very much. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then why not hit the big old subscribe button just below? You're going to love this video, and there's so much more content to come. You're not going to want to miss out. And why not jump in the comments and let me know what you think of this video too? I love reading your comments and getting to know you a bit better. That being said, let's just crack on with this comparison. Now, just looking at these two sniper rifles, it's easy to see some big differences between them. So we've got the Novritsch SSG10 A1 here, and then we've got the Ares Amoeba Striker Kneecapper. Now, first of all, size is a very big difference, but this doesn't go to say that one of them is automatically better than the other one just because one's bigger or one's smaller. They're built specifically for these purposes in mind. Now, taking a little look at the externals of the Novritsch SSG10 A1, you can see that there's a little thread at the end there, and that's because I like to run mine with a little suppressor just like that. It helps to deafen the sound just a little bit, and it also adds a little bit of length to the sniper rifle, which I personally quite like because it allows me to poke it through out of bushes, out of hedges, to make sure I can get a clean line of sight. Often I find with sniper rifles that are really short, you can't really go as deep into hedges, shrubberies, trees, things like that, because the end of your rifle isn't poking out enough in order to get a clean shot. So you're more likely to hit sticks, hit twigs, and have your BBs go asunder. Ooh, we're getting into fancy English now, aren't we? And that is one of the reasons why I love my SSG10. I have that extra length which allows me to kind of get clean shots and be super hidden back in safety. Now, looking at upgrades for this, I haven't actually really done a huge amount. You can see here I've got the Tridus Design TDC unit, and that thing is absolutely beautiful. If you run a VSR and you haven't got a TDC, definitely get yourself one of these because it just, it makes all the difference in the world. Genuinely, it is insane the difference that you get using this cheeky little thing here. Apart from that, I have also put in a different hop rubber. I think at the minute I've got the Mr. Hop 70 degree in there from Maple Leaf. And before that, I was running a Flamingo hop rubber, which again was awesome. But I like to test different hop rubbers just to see what works better than others. And I haven't been able to go out and play with this as much as I would like to before forming my own opinion on which hop rubber is better. But I must say, so far, they both seem to be doing the job. And that's it. I'm running the stock barrel, stock hop unit, the stock piston in there, although I am using the Project Airsoft weight tape for the piston too. So if you're running an SSG10 and you want a quieter shot and you want a more efficient piston in there too, go check it out on the website, link below in the description. All you do is peel off the adhesive back, stick it onto your piston, and I like to do a coating of electrotape too, just to make sure everything stays in place, and it will more than double the weight of your piston, so it's a nice, cheap, and quick upgrade. Apart from that, that is literally it. I've got the Novritsch scope on there as well. I've got my run cam little Picatinny mounting thing on the top there as well, and I've done a little spray painting job on this too. I literally just sprayed it with some green and some brown and a little bit of black just to darken it, and I've let natural wear and tear rub it off, and I must say I bloody love the look of this thing. If any CSGO fans are out there, this is essentially what I'd imagine a well-worn VSR to look like. And even here, man, I just love the look of it. It looks real. It looks like it's been through a war zone. So that there is my SSG10 A1. Now let's have a little look at the Ares Amoeba Striker Kneecapper. So first of all, it's a lot shorter than the SSG10 A1. The barrel on this is only actually 150 millimeters, so it is really tiny. My Mark 23 has a 220 mil barrel. It is upgraded, so you know it's not stock coming with that, but the barrel in my pistol is 50% extra as long as the barrel in this thing. Whereas the barrel in my SSG10 A1 is roughly about 420 mil, and that's the stock length of the barrel in there as well. Now, the fact that this is super short means it is ultra mobile, so you can run around with this nice and easily and quickly. It's easier to crawl into bushes and things like that, so you can get more snuggled up and in. And the fact that it's this kind of big or small, you could say, would be actually really handy to run this as a secondary, because it has got a quick detach sling point there on the front, and you have got a sling point here on the back as well. So if you wanted to, you could sling this on you, run this on your back, and then run with like an AEG main or something like that. And if there's somebody quite far away who you just want to pick off, all you you want to take somebody out closer, if you run this less than 1 joule, then you would be able to, you know, take them off really quietly nearby. So like I said, it is genuinely horses for courses between these two Rifts. Now, because they're both popular platforms, there's a lot of upgrades available for them too. I would say there's probably more so for the SSG10 A1 because it is a VSR-based sniper rifle, and those just seem to be the most popular sniper rifles out there. And I can see why. Like, they're super comfortable, they're really nice to use, they're ergonomic, they're lightweight, they're just kind of like everything that you need and want from a sniper rifle. The Ares Amoeba Striker, on the other hand, it is still very popular, and there are a lot of upgrade options you can get for this. In fact, I'm fairly certain there's just edgy kits that you can buy to give this a straight upgrade. Kind of like how you can get upgrade kits for the JG Bar 10 as well. They come with a piston, a spring guide, and a spring as well to lift the FPS up too. Now, one of the handy cool features about this is it actually uses AEG springs. So if you've got a load of old springs from your M4 or something like that, you can actually put them into this sniper rifle and change the FPS with them as well. And that, I find, is quite nice because you can just literally run any spring that you want if it's pre-existing. And that's something which I quite like because it just uses what you've already got present. Whereas the SSG10 A1, it doesn't even use standard VSR springs. It uses a different type of spring, so you have to kind of get them almost a bit proprietary from Novritsch themselves. Now, it is a little bit annoying that it does that, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense because all of the Novritsch rifles use the same springs. So if you've got a couple of the different rifles, say you've got like an SSG96 as well, it means that you can just buy the same springs and swap them out between your rifles to, you know, get the FPS that you want. So it makes sense within the Novritsch ecosystem. It's just a shame that the Novritsch ecosystem isn't the same as the existing VSR springs out there. In terms of mounting accessories, the Ares Amoeba Striker comes out on top. You've got a longer Picatinny rail on the top here, and you also have M-LOK here on the front end of the stock too. So if you wanted to mount, you know, even a Picatinny rail on there for accessories, if you wanted to mount scope cams, face cams, you know, if you wanted to put a peg box on there, if you wanted to put a vert grip on the bottom, you've got a lot of different mounting options available with this. Whereas with the VSR, you don't have that on this stock type anyway. If you instead went for the A3 stock, you've got a lot of M-LOK on the top, on the front, on the bottom. You've also got some extra little Picatinny mounts on there too if you wanted to mount a bipod or front grip or anything like that. So you can have that functionality within the SSG10 family of rifles, but not with the A1. Magazines is somewhere as well where these two rifles are different. With the Striker out of the box, you actually get a 45 round magazines, and you can get high capacity 55 round magazines as well. With the SSG10, however, I believe the stock magazine comes with 25 BBs in there, and there are high capacity magazines out there for VSRs, including the 50 round Action Army magazine. However, I've not yet been able to successfully use them consistently in my SSG10 because there's a slight compatibility issue with them. Now, you can get over this by modifying the magazines a little bit. They do take a tiny little bit of reworking to get them to work in there, so you can do that. But as a straight out of the box, if you just want it to work, you're going to be sat with the Novritsch 25 round magazines. I have tried to use other brand 25 round magazines as well, and they've not had like the best luck in there as well. I don't know if it's just my rifle, maybe it's just a little bit different or a little bit odd. So if you have an SSG10 and you're able to use the 50 round Action Army magazines, please do let me know in the comments below. And while you're in the comments below, if you haven't subscribed yet, why not click the subscribe button? I'll really appreciate it. Now, the mags are a lot bigger though in the Ares Striker, so if size is an issue, then the VSR definitely wins on the mag front. But you know what? When the mags are in the gun, they don't take up that much extra space, and I actually really like this aesthetic. Like, it's not something that I've really been too focused on in the past, but seeing it in person, I actually really quite like the look of this. With the VSR though, they are completely flush to the body, so when you've got a mag in, there is no extra detail to see that there is a magazine in there. You have got this little button release here, which will let the magazine drop out. Sometimes though, you do need to try and grip it and pull it out though, which can be a little bit tricky, especially if you've got gloves on. With me though, I cut the fingertips off my gloves, and that's something I recommend for everyone out there to do. But in terms of ease of reloading, of mag swapping, I think I'm gonna have to give that to the Striker as well, just because the magazines fall out and are really, really easy to put in and out as well. It's a really positive experience. The Striker as well does have that little extra fold out bar bit at the back, which is your little shoulder rest. And you know what? It does feel comfortable to use just like so, but I'm not sure how much I would actually use that out in the field. I think in here it is comfortable and it's a nice to have, but generally speaking, I don't think it's something which I would use too much when out playing Airsoft, because I feel like it's probably more going to get in the way than it's going to be useful, just because I'm quite a, you know, I move things around a lot when I play, and if I have the bar out here, I'm not going to be able to kind of do those vigorous movements, oh sorry table, that I otherwise would be able to do. So yeah, I like that it's there. It doesn't get in the way when I'm not using it. So it's a nice to have, that's for sure. Two other nice to haves on here is the fact that there is no safety out of the box. With the SSG10 and with VSRs in general, you do have a safety switch, which is found here, but it always gets in the way. I'm constantly knocking it by accident. So whenever I get a VSR, the first thing I do is take the stock off and remove the safety catch immediately. With the Striker, however, you don't have to do that because it's already removed and they put a little blanking plate in there instead as well. So you don't have to worry about knocking it, catching it, or getting any dirt inside the rip. So that is a nice to have. The other nice to have is it's got a little cocking alert here. So when you cock the rifle, this little red bit here pops out to let you know that it's cocked. So it's really easy to remember or to see if your rifle's ready to shoot or if it's not. Sometimes when I'm out in the field, I won't cock my rifle or I'll forget that it isn't cocked and I'll be watching someone, I'll go to take the shot and nothing happens. And it's such a pain in the butt and it means that I miss out on kills and it means that I'm gonna get killed and my team are gonna get killed because I'm not taking that shot, which should be a dead guy right there. So that is a nice little feature. In terms of ease of use, if you're a smaller player, then I would recommend the Striker just because it's not very long on the front, whereas the VSRs can get quite lengthy out there, which means it can be harder to hold it up. Whereas because this is nice and short and stubby, especially without the long suppressor on there as well, which doesn't make a huge difference. I expect it would do if you stuffed it with foam or Scotch-Brite or something like that. But because it's nice and short, it means that if you are younger with smaller arms, it's easier to hold and it's easier to get eyes on and engage an enemy. So yeah, if you are a younger player, or if you're looking to buy something for a younger player to get them into airsoft sniping, then again, the Striker is probably a good option for you there. Now, for your average person, which one would I recommend? It's probably going to seem a little bit odd because in my head, it sounded like I've just been praising the Striker through and through. But I'm going to call it, and it is going to be the SSG10 A1. The reason being is that I have just had so many kills with this. The range is amazing and I've had such an amazing time using this sniper rifle that it's just, I've never experienced anything that's come close to matching this for sniping performance. I suppose my SRS has been really good. I do have the 26-inch version and I have converted it down to a 16-inch as well, but the ergonomics of that just fall to the wayside for me and I much prefer the VSR when I'm out there playing. It's lightweight, it's super comfortable. Sure, you don't get that many shots in the magazine, but for me in my head it just kind of makes me feel a little bit more like I need to make every shot count. Like I can't just sit there putting BBs downrange, which ultimately is going to make it easier for people to find out where I am. It makes me feel a bit more like I've got to think about my shots, place them better, and make each shot count. Yeah, like the bolt pull is longer on the VSR than it is on the Striker. The Striker's probably about like 2/3 of this, but the fact that it has got that nice long bolt pull is something really visceral about it, you know, like, and the bolt pull is so smooth and comfortable. It's a lot smoother than the Striker that I found, and also it doesn't have any like kind of bumping going in. I've had a couple of bolt pulls on the Striker which have been a little bit difficult to get them to go pushed back in, and if I actually lift it up here, you can see that there is some metal rubbing there already, and that's literally only shooting it about 10 times in the studio here. So I imagine over some time that rubbing, it's going to kind of like rub the metal out where it is catching on, and then it's going to be smoother. But you know what, like, I don't feel like I've ever had that issue here. Like, to be fair, there is a couple of points on there where it looks like the cylinder has probably touched down on it, but when I do that, it actually is so far lifted off of where those rubbing points are. I feel like it must be more I've like hit it or something while I've been out in the field, and that's what's caused those little marks there. But yeah, like the VSR, the upgrade potential that you've got for it, there's a lot more options because it has got a much longer barrel stock in there. It's almost 3 times as long. It means that you can use heavier weight BBs with it as well. It's going to more efficiently transfer that power into them, which is going to increase your range and increase your accuracy too. The Striker does have a TDC built into it from the box. However, with the Tridos TDC upgrade, you get a much better contact onto the BB, and it's so much easier to set as well because you can just like twist it, and with those clicks, you know that it's solidly in place and it's not going anywhere. Whereas with the Striker, you need to get your Allen key out, make your adjustments, put the Allen key back, and that can be a faff. Whereas here, I can literally be trying to take a shot at someone, bop, 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 and then I can just go, right, I need a bit more hop on, do that with my thumb, take another shot, okay, a little bit off, take another shot, and then boom, there we go, right on target. So this in its setup is just so amazingly wonderful. I genuinely, I can't explain it any other way. It is an absolute pleasure to use. You can, of course, get the short kit version version of the SSG10 A1. I've not personally used that myself. So if it cuts the barrel down to like this length here, which I think is probably going to be way too short, then that may be good for a younger player with, you know, shorter arms. But I think generally speaking, if you are wanting to get something which a little person can use to get into airsoft sniping, then the Striker is going to be a really good option. So yeah, there we go. My cheeky little comparison between the SSG10 A1 from Novritsch and the Ares Amoeba Striker Kneecapper. If it's been useful, entertaining, or informative for you, please do click the subscribe button. It really does mean a lot. And until next time, remember to call your hits, and I'll see you soon.